Dusk leans over Jerusalem. Late 7th century BCE, during Jehoiakim's reign, Babylon rises in the north. Merchants pull down shutters. A judge closes a door that has not been fair all day. Street talk is rough bribes, threats hush money. So the prophet does what honest people do when they hit a wall. He prays out loud how long. He names violence. He names twisted courts. He refuses to dress it up. Therefore his words are raw. But raw is not rebellion. Lament is not unbelief. Lament is love that refuses to give up on goodness. He is not ranting at the sky. He is bringing evidence to the one who sees. Maybe you know the feeling. You filed the report. You called the number. You told the leader. And all you heard was the hum of the fridge. Silence can feel like absence. It is not. Silence can be a pause before a hard-needed answer. Habakkuk won't walk away. He stays at the door and knocks again. He tells God what clogging the courts does to the poor. He tells God what fear does to neighborhoods at night. He is not negative. He is faithful enough to tell the truth. Reflection. Prompt. What truth about your city, family, or workplace have you been scared to say to God? Whisper one sentence to God that begins, say, how long about? Say it plain. No church words. Breathe out slowly. The reply comes like thunder from a clear sky. God says, watch. I am doing something you would not believe. Therefore hope rises, but the next line stings. Babylon will be the tool. Babylon is fast. Horses like wildfire. Commanders who redraw borders as if lines on a kid's map. They worship power. They grind nations into brick. This is not the kind of answer that gets applause at the prayer meeting. Why would God use a ruthless empire? Here's the simple frame God can use, a crooked tool without calling it straight. Judgment can arrive in the form of an audit, painful, wide, and not neat. Therefore the prophet's comfort drops, but a new trust begins. If God is authoring the timing, God is not absent from the story. Justice will come, even if the carrier is severe. This is where grown-up faith starts, not with easy outcomes, but with the God who holds the handle. Reflection prompt. Would you still want justice if it also cost you? Put a hand on your chest. Say, God, I want what is right more than what is easy. Lead me. Breathe in, 4 out, 6. The prophet walks to the wall before dawn. He opens the old stories. Red Sea, Sinai, faithful rescue after faithful rescue. He says, you are too pure to look on evil. Then he points at the news. Therefore a second complaint forms, but this one stands on God's character, not on raw pain alone. He climbs the rampart in his mind. I will stand at my watch, he says. A watch post is not a bed. It is attention. It is prayer with a pen in hand. It is expectation without control. Therefore he waits with focus. But he is not passive. He will measure any inner voice by the God he already knows, holy, just, faithful, patient. Reflection. Prompt. What promise about God are you standing on while you wait? Write one sentence because you are madden. I will hug you while I wait. Fill the blanks and keep the line. Morning light. A blank tablet. God answers. Write the vision. Make it plain. It has an appointed time. Therefore truth gets preserved. But timing is not instant. Then the line that echoes across centuries. The righteous will live by faith. Quick definition. Faith equals trusting and acting on God's character when outcomes lag. In Habakkuk, it means persistent faithfulness. The New Testament later echoes this line towards salvation by faith. Therefore the proud puff up and collapse, but the steady live by trust. Writing makes hope durable. Ink outlasts panic. A clear sentence can guide a foggy month. Your future self and your friends will need your notes. Reflection. Prompt. What truth do you need to see in writing this week? On your phone or a card? Write vision. I will trust God's character more than today's results. Put it where you'll see it. Now God names the rot. Woe to those who stack wealth with predatory loans. Houses rise, therefore debtors fall. but the lender's gain turns to loss. Woe to those who build security through violence. Fortresses grow, therefore blood stains the walls. But the bricks cry out. Woe to those who seduce with spin cups of lies go around, therefore shame spreads. But exposure is coming. Woe to the idol makers, glossy images mute the conscience, but the carved thing cannot breathe life back. This is not ancient poetry on a shelf. It is payday loans in food deserts. It is wage theft behind a smiling brand. It is propaganda that sells fear as safety. It is any system that treats people as parts. Therefore, we must name systemic sin, but we are not left only to rage. The woes are a warning and a mercy, instruments of harm boomerang. God is not mocked by spreadsheets. Reflection, prompt. Which woe shows up most where you live, money, power, or spin? Circle one area you touch: work, school, neighborhood. Write one small act you can take to push against harm this week. Between the woes, a promise breaks in. The earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. That is not private comfort. That is public renewal. Therefore, judgment is not the last word. But the world's noise will try to drown this song. Then, a holy hush. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence. Silence, quick definition, is worship when it is surrendered to God's reality, not despair. Therefore, we practice quiet as protest against frenzy. But we do this with eyes open to hope, not shut to pain. Reflection prompt. What would one full minute of silence say to your week? Set a 60-second timer. Sit still. Inhale. Glory is coming. Exhale. I can be quiet. The superscription says the prayer is on Shigionoth, likely a musical direction. The prophet sings history in high color. God strides from Teman. Mountains shake. Rivers split. Arrows flash. Chariots roll. Memory is gasoline for courage. Therefore, faith has evidence. But the body still trembles. My legs shook, he admits. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is fear that has rehearsed God's track record. So he asks for mercy in the midst of the years. Not later, only now. He puts yesterday's rescue next to today's valley and refuses to call the story over. Reflection. Prompt name. One time God carried you farther than your strength. Write 5 true things God has done for you or your people. Read them aloud once slow. We step into fields of failure. No figs, no grapes. Empty stalls. The savings account is around zero. Therefore, most people break. But the prophet chooses joy in God, not in outcomes. Quick definition. Joy. Joy is a settled gladness in God's goodness. It is not denial. It does not fake a smile. It is a choice to anchor in who God is when resources are thin. Therefore, strength returns. He makes my feet like a deer's. Balance in steep places. Lift where it looked impossible. The terrain does not change, but the traveler does. Reflection prompt. What is your fig tree right now, and how could you say yet today? Micro practice 30 to 60s. Speak this out. Even if shy yet, I will rejoice in you. Fill the blank with your real shortage. Empires still make promises they cannot keep. Predatory systems still learn new clothes. Therefore, we name them with wisdom. But we resist cynicism with hope from chapter 2 and chapter 3. Waiting drains us. So we build watchpost habits, write the vision journal, shared doc, accountability partner, wait with structure, weekly check-ins, Sabbath counseling, witness with life fair, dealing mercy, telling the truth at work. For example, be transparent about tips, commissions, don't amplify unverified news, and repair harm when you misspeak. Theology term in one line. Witness means living in such a way that people can see what God is like. Therefore, hope becomes disciplined, not naive. But the headlines will still shout. You are not called to fix the world in a weekend. You are called to be faithful long enough to matter. Reflection. Prompt: which habit do you need? Write, wait, or witness. Set a 7-day reminder right now with 2 words, e.g., watch, post, journal. Let's keep it simple. Formation beats sensation. Write, capture God's truth and your next small obedience. Keep it plain. 1 sentence you can actually do. Therefore, your week has rails, but keep it short so it survives Tuesday. Wait, respect delay without calling it denial. Put time on hope review in a week. Therefore, patience has a calendar, but you still move. Witness live, visibly just and joyful. Pay people fairly. Tell the truth. Keep promises. Therefore, light gets a shape, but expect pushback. Babylon never claps for this. Reflection. Prompt. Which object do you need today? Tablet, hourglass, or shoes? Micro practice 30/60 screenshot. Or write these 3 words, big, write, wait, witness. Place it by your door. Some of you have lived your own siege, abuse, layoffs, public shaming, betrayal. Therefore, today's text can sting. But pain does not disqualify you from faith. It often deepens it. If you need it, talk with a licensed counselor or a trusted leader. Therapy and faith can walk together. God heals over time and through people. Do not carry it alone. Therefore, go slow. Honor your nervous system. Eat, sleep, walk. Pray the short prayers when the long ones feel heavy. You are not behind. You are healing. Reflection. Prompt. What is 1 small way you can be gentle with yourself this week? Micro practice 30/60s. Put a support number or counselor contact in your phone under Help. Tell 1 safe friend you're watching this. We started with how long we finish with yet. I will rejoice. The ruins still smoke. The courts are still being rebuilt. Therefore, faith is not naive, but it is reoriented. It faces God first, headline second. The righteous will live by faith. 1 line simple, meaning people aligned with God live by trusting God's character. Therefore, Monday becomes a quiet protest against despair. But it is also a song. A steady, stubborn song. So here is your next step. Choose yet. Then take the next faithful action your vision sentence names. If you do not know the action right, wait and witness until it appears. God meets people who stand at the watch post. Reflection prompt. Before you go, what will your yet look like this week? Stand up if you can. Say out loud. Yet I will rejoice, then name 1 action you'll do in the next 24 hours.